I say there, mages. Welcome to Naval Action Pirate Chronicles, Episode 7, The Crooked Hull. I'm the noble and puissant Lord Hullabaloo of Viscount of the Bahamas.
Exactly, it doesn't work, does it? And that there is reason enough why the pirates shouldn't be a nation. But I'll get into why I think that a bit later. Firstly, let's see where we are. Here I am in Tanza. You can see I've hit the Devil level now, which is good. And this is the surprise. So this is the surprise I'm selling at the moment. This is the Crooked Hull, which this episode is supposedly going to be all about. You can see there, speed 12 with +3. It's got Bermuda cedar wood type and Bermuda cedar planking. And you can see the upgrades there. All speed related, the Crooked Hull, the copper plating and the Gazelle bow figure. So it's really fast. I've got the smaller cannons there on the main gun deck and also on the weather deck. Well, that's the big. And I've gone for the long cannons on the front and back so they can do the distance. But that gives me a nice speed of 15, even with a few repairs on. I just put those under, that just tips me under. I keep those separate, so if I have to run and I really do need to do 15 knots, which is rare, I can quickly destroy them and get up to full speed. But in all honesty, that hasn't happened yet. So this is the plan. You can see here I am. Here's Matanza, right on the north coast of Cuba, and you can see that the pirates have taken out huge swathes of land here into Cuba. So they've been doing rather well, and that's La Habana, or Havana, which is the Spanish capital. So the pirates have gone right up there next to the Spanish capital. There's a free port. That's the nearest free port. They're all around that area. There were pirates. I think it's the insane pirates used to sort of hang around there. And this is the plan: is to travel up round the Gulf of Mexico. So up to these free ports here. Travel it along, see what I can see. Right there's a sort of regional capital there, up to Calcasieu, and then hopefully all the way down here, down the Mexican coast, El Rancho, and then to Tamiagua. I'm not sure I pronounced these right. Salinas. I see lots of free ports sort of dotted around where I can, Tumbado, where I can pick up extra rig and hull repairs as and when I need and get into fights. I shall probably then go along the south of Cuba there, maybe to Cayman Brac, up to La Navas, back up to Mortimer Town, and then if I manage to get to Mortimer Town without getting killed, then I shall probably sell this ship there. But anyway, this is the plan. So you just put pumps on there. I'm not planning on doing any boarding. I'll be too far away from home to be fleeting up ships and carrying them around. So okay, let's go to the Gulf of Mexico.
Santiano gained a day. Away, Santiano. Ah, Santiano gained a day. Along the plains of Mexico. Mexico, oh, Mexico. Away, Santiano. Ah, Mexico is a place I know. Along the plains of...
Oh, it's raining. Oh, sod that. And therein lies the problem. Obviously, it wasn't because it was raining I didn't go, but it was because the day before they changed this PvP marks and PvE marks things to combat marks, and they decided in their wisdom that a PvP mark was only worth 2 combat marks, to where a PvE was worth 1. And that really did take the wind out of my sails in terms of the motivation for going off on a long journey like that I've described. It would probably be like 2 sessions of gameplay. It would probably be like 7-8 hours to go around there with a few fights. And there just really wasn't any incentive to do it because there just wouldn't be any reward. If you're not stealing ships, in that time I could run like, bloody 20, 30 Indefatigable missions and make a huge ton of money and huge ton of experience and loads of lovely loot drops and there's just no motivation to do that anymore other than the fun of it. So I mean I would still do it, but thankfully I found out yesterday that the devs have done something about it. They are going to increase the rewards for a PvP, and that's good. So I shall embark on an epic journey similar to that or the same as that in the next episode possibly, or in a soon episode, but at the moment in this episode there's a bit of PvP, little bits in there, mostly PvP that I was really bad in, so you can laugh at me later in this episode, and then also I'm going to go through a few of the changes, a few things I've got wrong, and basically different things that I've learned about the game, which is actually quite a few. But before we get on to that, I'll just talk briefly about this Lord Hullabaloo Viscount of the Bahamas thing. Basically, I've been involved in a couple of port battles, and I'm in receipt of one of these pensions that gives me 1 conquest mark every day. Now, I earned that because I was in this port battle here and basically just turned up and defended a supposed attack by the US. But that attack was very half-hearted, to say the least, and there was never any possibility that they were going to take it. And so this was a little underwhelming. And then 10 days later, about 10 days later, there was another port battle the Americans had taken again. Now, this time they brought a few more ships, and there was a little bit of sort of skirmishing, and a few of our towers were destroyed by their mortar brigs. So a little bit more went on than that one. And at this point, I've managed to sort of catch up with the action a bit.
Doing okay over there, Blue?
Yeah, man, I'm in the thick of it now. There's a few US mercs I'm not going to go at now.
Looks like Larry hopped on, said hey, and then left.
Missed.
This guy knows what I'm up against. He doesn't want me to board him.
What ship is this? A good guy or a bad guy? Can't tell. Can't see what flag it is.
It's a little bit better. Can you not use your spyglass?
Ah, it's a good guy.
Well, I'm chasing this guy away.
Cool.
Just to get on it to stop being bad at gunning. Oh, much better. Nice.
Oh shit.
What?
2 U.S. players have snuck down the island and are about to come in the circle. Yep, sure enough. And guess what? It's the mortar brigs.
Do you have a limit you have to get to or something?
Yeah, 1,000. We're at 902.
Okay.
They're capturing C.
Yeah, I know. I got 2 trader brigs over here. A mortar strike? Really? I got the mortar brigs firing at me. That's fun.
Sounds to me like they need to shorten the range on the mortar brigs.
I got 2 mortar brigs firing at me.
That's all right. Just keep moving. Make it hard for them.
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
Sinking glow in the sky.
At least there's another good guy in the ring with me. Of
Yeah.
course, there's one more USA guy trying to get in too.
Yeah, but we just got 40 points right there.
Yeah. Damn. Why am I not hitting them? Sure
Oh,
shit
that
smacking
was-
me.
That's it. We won.
We won.
We won.
What are we gonna do? We're all leaving now?
I'm just going back into port.
No. I mean, you got out of the battle?
Yeah, once the battle's over, it's done.
Yeah, I'm leaving. Just having a look at them. So that was the West End successfully defended. So I'll continue to get a pension of conquest marks won every day until such time, I assume, as the US decide to try and take the port back again. Now that's my third port battle now, and I have to say that every one of them has been a little bit underwhelming. I mean, at least there was a little bit of fighting in that last one, but I've not really enjoyed them that much. Now, obviously, I'm not in the first rates. I'm not doing it properly. These are only shallow water ones in little Mercuries, and it's not the same thing. But port battles just isn't my cup of tea. That's just not. As I said before, it's not really what I'm in the game for. And in all honesty, I'm not really that bothered about the conquest marks actually either. I mean, it allows you to build Agamemnon's, Bellona's or something like sort of fourth rates or third rates, I don't know. And they're not really very suitable ships for the kind of way I play anyway. I mean, I don't really need to sail in anything bigger than a fifth rate because they're not very suitable for the sort of PvP style that I'm doing and that my clan are doing. So the pirate frigate is the ship I want to get into, and I don't need conquest marks for that. So there really isn't that much motivation to be doing this. And of course, the whole notion of pirates as a nation doesn't sit well with me either. I think it's a bit ridiculous. You see certain people if you're a pirate, and you would have seen in Nation Chat certain people going on about how many Bellonas they can field and how many victories they've got, and A, they're not pirates, and B, it's just a bit pathetic. It's just not my cup of tea. I mean, if you want to do that, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to do that and getting in the big ships and doing the port battles, but in my opinion, go and join a nation. I don't really see why pirates have any business getting involved in that part of the game. And it sort of spoils the experience of being a pirate for me personally. I mean, that's the way it is, that's the mechanic as it is, so I just have to live with it. But if you ask me, pirates shouldn't be in those big ships. And that sort of brings me on to a sort of another topic, which is the whole idea of these big clans. Now, my advice for a new player is, when you join your nation, you'll probably have a dominant or maybe a couple of dominant clans and they're sailing the really big ships, the first rates, and they're the most powerful clans in a way. And there's a big temptation, human nature I suppose, there's a big temptation to want to join them. But I really would give you a word of warning, just because they're the biggest and they've got the biggest ships, they're the most powerful clan, it doesn't mean you're going to have the most fun with them. And in fact, in my limited experience, admittedly, I would say that the opposite is true. You're probably better off just being with the little clans. You don't need the massive ships. You don't need all that, all those bragging rights to actually enjoy the game. And I've had a lot more fun with just a few guys in our little clan just sailing the fifth rates, and I enjoy that aspect of the game much more. So just be wary if you're thinking of joining a clan before you immediately stump for the biggest, seemingly most powerful one, because that really isn't necessarily where you're going to get the best experience in the game. And that certainly that's certainly been the case in my experience so far. And even worse, you can just end up sort of joeying for some, mad megalomaniac clan leader. And in fact, all you're doing is running around and crafting and picking up materials and chucking all your stuff in the clan warehouse just to feed this nut job megalomaniac who just wants to have loads of big ships and loads of people under his control. And that's really an awful way to play the game. So really try to avoid doing that. Now, I just want to talk about a few things that have changed in the game, and a few probably obvious to many of you things that I've only just recently discovered, or the pennies just dropped on them. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the ship tree. As you probably know, if you play the game, that's now gone. Now, I'm kind of ambivalent. I mean, nobody liked that, did they? It was a bit of a grind. I quite liked it because it meant that you saw a bigger variation of ships, I think. Around, because you saw people in pickles and brigs and snows and all. I mean, snows are still useful, but you saw people in these ships because they were running around doing the grind, and it kind of increased the range of ships you saw out in the oceans, I thought, which I quite liked about it. So I mean, maybe they could have just just made that less sort of oppressive, that mechanic, but they've chosen to get rid of it altogether. And that's fine. The game's in alpha. That's what we're here for. We're testing. They're trying things out. It does make me worry a bit that they would introduce that and then suddenly change their minds and then decide this wasn't a good idea after all, without any sort of explanation. Give it some thought in the first place, surely. But anyway, that's gone, and I don't think too many people are going to be crying about the fact that that's gone. And now the other thing to mention is AFK sailing. Now, AFK sailing, although dangerous, you really don't want to be doing this in high traffic areas. You don't want to be doing AFK sailing past Mortimer Town or past KPR or past any of the capitals or past busy free ports. I mean, you're going to lose your ship if you're going to do that. That's dumb. But AFK sailing is an important part of the game, I find, because, you know, it suits my lifestyle. You know, I might have to do a bit of work, might want to take the dog for a walk, might have to make a few phone calls, you know, might have, you know, sort of home life things to do. And what I do is I plan ahead. I know that I'm going to be taking a bit of a break, and I know I've got to do this long sail at some point. I've got something's got to be moved from one place to the other. So I point my ship and I AFK sail, and I leave and go and do what I'm going to do, and I leave the game running. Now, after 30 minutes of inactivity, the game logs you off. And so you're automatically then logged off. Then when you come back, doing whatever you do, whether it's a few hours later, whether it's a day later, you come back, you start playing the game then, and you've done a 30-minute sail. That's been cut out. You didn't have to sit there and stare at the screen and watch yourself doing that. And that I find that really useful. I find that AFK sailing in certain situations can really take a lot of the sailing grind out of the game. So I would recommend that in certain circumstances. But I reiterate, you know, please don't do that in silly places, because then you're just going to get caught and you're going to lose your stuff and you're going to lose your ship. And here's something else that I noticed only a few weeks ago. Now you notice I'm looking through the spyglass. I'm doing an Indefatigable raider mission here, and I'm trying to work out what the ships are, but you don't need to do that. Here is all the information you need, and here I'm just holding down the tab key, and that tells you exactly who's in the battle, what ship they're in. And then here's the M key. This gives you that. I knew that, but look at that little checkbox there. You can click that, you can click on the ship, and it gives you exactly what their stats are, how much sail they've lost, how much armour they've got, regardless of the distance away. Just that little checkbox there, the M key. Now, I know most of you would already have known that, but that's something very, very useful. If you didn't know that, you should start using that. That makes your life a lot easier, and that works also in PvP as well as missions. It works anyway. And here's something else I recently discovered. You can't capture ships that have surrendered. Here I caught I chained a trader's links here in my links. He surrendered. Now I've got access to his hull, but he didn't have anything. I tried to capture the ship and I'm not allowed to. So you can't capture ships where the player has surrendered. Now that seems a bit daft to me. I've only recently discovered that, but I've noticed on the forums that that's going to be changing. So keep your eyes open for that, because that mechanic may change in the next patch. And here's something else that I got wrong. I did say in the last episode that I didn't think that you could incorporate ships into your fleet that somebody else had boarded and captured. But in fact you can. You can see here, I'm here, Black Roberts has actually boarded this ship. Now what he's done in the battle instance, he's right clicked on the ship and he's hit make available to all. And then when he's done that, I can then set up the ship, and you can see here I can then assign crew to it, hit confirm. And now that ship is a part of my fleet, even though it was Black Roberts that in fact did the boarding. Thanks very much to Thunder Kettle for pointing that one out for me. And another mistake I've been making is that I, for some reason, thought that when I saw a ship in the open world that has carrying contraband goods, I thought that meant they actually had the item, contraband goods, in their cargo hold. And I also always wondered, how does it look when you have your smuggler flags enabled? Well, obviously the two are the same thing. When you have your smuggler flags enabled, then you are shown to other players in the open world as carrying contraband goods. So that now all makes sense now. And here's a sneaky little piratey trick I've discovered here. You can see, I mean, this is only AI, but you can see I've spotted this ship coming out from on this headland. And look where I am. Now what I've done is I've used the free camera. I've used the free camera, lifted my camera up, and I can see what's coming through this channel here. I can see this ship coming through. I'm ready to pounce. There's no way that he can see me, because you know that peninsula of land and all those trees are hiding. And so that's a sneaky little chip that pirates can do if you want to ambush someone coming through a busy shipping lane, like this little gap here. This is down in the Dutch area I was in a few weeks ago. Now they've nerfed that a little bit. I think it takes a lot longer to do this now. The camera's much slower than it was. I think that's deliberately they've nerfed it. But you can come out of free mode like I've done now, and you go straight back to your ship as usual. And you can see that there's no way that that ship could even see me and point me. And I can just then race around this corner, and you know, I'm already on him. I'm already making my move and pouncing on him before he's even had the opportunity to know I'm even there. At this point, he still wouldn't even be able to see me. And here he comes into view, and I'm already upon him. So a nasty little piratey trick you can employ there. Now, just something else to be wary of here. You can see here I'm chasing down this trader's links in my links, and I've really been working on his sails, and he can barely move, so he's pretty much doomed. But I've remapped my keys. Now look at my compass there. See, I'm on auto. I'm turning through. I'm going for some single shots. And there, I've switched to manual. Now I've not noticed this. Now I'm hitting his sails. I've not noticed I've gone into manual, and then I'm in irons. Now it takes me a while to work out why I've stopped. At first I think it's lag, and then I realise, oh, I've gone into manual, and I flip back to auto and start trying to pull myself out and get moving again. Now I do eventually manage to catch up with him again, but you can see the time is running down. Now I'm desperate to get a couple of shots on, but I have managed to catch him up again, and then we'll see what happens. Very, very bouncy ship, the Lynx anyway. That's a bad shot. That one goes right in between the boat and the sails. That one's on target but manages to go through the gap, and the same with that one. And I don't manage to tag him. Now the time has really run. I desperately try to do a left turn and see if I can get my other ones going and try and get a tag on him. But of course I've got nowhere near enough time. Timer runs out. Here it is the battle, and he's gone, all because I accidentally tapped a key. And that leads me on to this really, really important point. Rig repairs, rig repairs, rig repairs. You must carry rig repairs. If you don't carry rum, it's not the end of the world. Okay, if your crew gets depleted, your guns aren't going to load, but you can still get away. If you're not carrying hull repairs, okay, you're not going to be able to repair. You're not going to be going for a big PvP brawl, but you can still get away. But if you don't have rig repairs and you get tagged and you get chained, it's all over. There's really nothing you can do. Now here's the case in point. Here I've caught this India man. Now we've been chaining each other, and you can see my chains are ruined, but I've got rig repairs and he doesn't. So I simply repair my sails. I'm catching up with him again. He's still trying to chain me, look. But he's fighting a losing battle because every little bit of damage I've done his sail is permanent, and I've got plenty of rig repairs on mine, and that's the difference. Now this would have been quite an interesting fight, Indefatigable versus India Man. It might have been quite an interesting battle because India Man, they got a lot of cannons on, they can't actually fight, and would have been a good fight. But if he's got no repairs, it's all over. I mean, I can't really fail to lose this battle now. And for the battle here, and you can see, you know, his sails are ruined, and I've cut through all his armour, and there's really not much you can do. And I decided to sink him at this point because it's before the PvP marks change. So I didn't really need an India man, and the 4 PvP marks I get for sinking were actually more valuable to me at that point. Obviously now. That would be completely different. I would be boarding and taking this India man because PvP marks no longer exist, and the rewards you get for killing an India man, you'd be better off capping and selling it. But at this point, I needed the PvP marks. Now, another thing I'd like to point out is a 7-0 to this guy, because if you look at the chat we're having, this guy, he's about to lose an India man, which is a really expensive ship, yeah, but he's not moaning about it. He's being a man about it. He's accepted the fact that he's lost his ship. We're having a discussion about, you know, what went wrong, what he could have done, how the battle went, and it's friendly and it's honourable. Now, I've lost ships, I've lost expensive ships. But everyone out there, you know, don't gripe and moan and go, oh, you're a cheat, oh, you're a loser, or, you know, if win or lose, just be honourable about it, be a grown-up, you know what I mean? We're all playing the game, we're all trying to have fun, and there's just no point in getting nasty and ranting and raving, because at the end of the day, you just make yourself look like a Burke. So, you know, just don't do it. Now, here's a case in point. I've caught 2 traders' brigs. Little Inagua, a player with 2 traders' brigs feed together. I've caught him in my surprise. I've already sunk the player's ship, but you know, it just like abuse and swearing and stuff. You can see him going here, and the only reason I am sinking the AI trader is it's because he's been said. Otherwise, we'll let it go. So he's lost the trader's brig just because he was just doing all this crap in chat. His ship's already sunk, and he's just sitting here in the battle instance in his sunken ship, just giving me a load of grief, and none of it really makes any sense. And because he was such a dick about it, I've decided, well, I'm going to sink his other ship as well now, which, you know, doesn't really gain me much. I'll probably get a few more XP from it, and he might have something in the cargo, I suppose. But I'm in my far surprise that the Crooked Hull one, so I probably wouldn't even pick it up anyway because I was going in the other direction. So, you know, he's just lost the traders because he couldn't really be a man about it, and that's a shame. Now, another thing I want to talk about is big ships and little ships. Now, you may think that bigger ships are better. They've got more guns, they've got more armour, they've got thicker hulls, and so the bigger the ship you're in, the better. But that really is not the case. It definitely is not the case. In fact, bigger ships, particularly when they're on their own, are very vulnerable to attack by smaller ships. And this is a very important thing to remember, and it's why you don't often see Victories and Santissimas and Lotions sailing around on their own, because sailing around on their own, they are very vulnerable. Now, here I am. I'm in my supplies, not the Crooked Hull one, but it's a similar ship. It's very squishy with the cedar wood. It's got small cannons on it. It's fast. It's much more manoeuvrable than this Indefatigable I've come across. Now you can see it's already got a damage. It's completed a mission. Its rear armour has been completely stripped. Now I'm not sure whether I did a bit of that, or whether I think it may have already gone. But that's actually relatively easy to take off anyway with your with cannons. You can strip off the back armour even on a big ship relatively quickly. Now you see I've got behind it. I've chained him a bit. He does have some repairs, although not many. So he's made that critical error. I've got some rig repairs on it, although maybe not as many as I like, because I wanted to maintain my speed. But you can see I've managed to get behind him. Now, this is the tactic you want to do. Now, the Indefatigable, it's in the same class of but it's much bigger ship. It's an absolute beast of the fifth rates, much more powerful. But I've got the manoeuvrability, and I'm here. I'm able to stern camp him. Now, my plan is now, you can see I've loaded grape, and what I want to do is whittle down his crew. Now, I've actually got a little bit too close to him. You can see I'm turning away as he unleashes his broadside. Now, he's trying to chain me, and he does quite a lot of damage there. I've got a little bit too close. But I'm turning again, going for another stern rate. I've drifted out a little bit too far again there, and again he's able to get another broadside. So I'm not doing this particularly well. I need to be a little bit further back and turn a little bit quicker. But I'm whittling down his crew now. You can see I've got rid of 50, 60 of his crew just in those couple of rates. Now he's going to be loading now really slowly. So these broadsides have become less of a problem. You see, I was a little bit too close there as well, but because his crew's so depleted, he hadn't managed to reload on that side anyway, so I was able to avoid the broadside there. I've repaired my sails a little bit again now, so I'm moving a lot quicker, so it's going to be a lot easier to stay out his broadside anyway. I'm just going to continue to whittle down that crew and get ready to board it. obviously as his crew goes down, they're more sparsely sort of dispersed across the ship, so you kill less and less crew with each volley. But I'm whittling down well now, down to 921. No, he's unable to shoot. No, I'm really not doing this very well. I really need a lot more practice at this. I'm really not very good, but I hope it's showing how, you know, you would think that an Indefatigable against a squishy surprise, it would be, you know, everything would be in the Indefatigable's favour, but it's totally the opposite. You'd much rather be in the surprise because of that extra manoeuvrability. It totally dominates the engagement, and it's the better ship on a one-on-one. So size really isn't what's important. Now, had this guy been actually firing ball, because I'm so bad and I was getting in range of his broadside, that probably might have been a bit different story, but he was intent on chaining me, which I can understand. But that was probably a mistake in this event. Had he been using ball, he may well have been able to fight me off. So his crew's completely whittled down. You see he's down at 77 crew now. He's not going to be able to do anything now. I mean, his guns are going to take an age to reload now. So I'm not expecting any more broadsides from him at all. So now I'm switching to chain. I'm just going to slow him down even further, get him down to about 50%, and then I'll look to start turning into the wind and starting the ball. Now I've got Marines on this surprise, and I've also opened the second slot, so I think I've got boarding parties as well. So I'm all set up for boarding. Just want to chain him a little bit more and slow him down, and then start the boarding. See there, he'd managed to reload a couple of cannons on the side in all that time. Really no threat at all. I've actually run out of rig repairs. I'm not going as fast as I would like. It's a little bit more difficult, but it's going to take a while to whittle these cells down. But there's very little we can do. Now you can see now, if either of us have had extra rig repairs, it would have completely changed the balance of the battle. I mean, if I was able to repair now, I'd be going a lot faster, and I'd be getting this chaining work done. If he'd have had rig repairs, he'd be able to repair, and in all honesty, I'd have probably given up. He probably could have lost me, actually started going faster than me with his repaired sail, because mine are actually quite badly damaged as well. So, you know, rig repairs are just so vital. Now you can see I've swapped a ball on my right because I just want to put ball in just so I can do the odd single shot and just tag him. It's a little bit irritating. I've lost my stern chasers there, so I can't just tag him as I'm turning. But it shouldn't be a problem. I'm now going to catch up with him and see if I can turn him into the wind and think about boarding. I'm not going to start my boarding preparation yet because I want to start turning him and make sure that I can turn him into the wind. So I'm switching both sides of the ball just to tag him. Just a single shot. I'm not going to let off any broadsides, and I'm going to see if I can turn him into the wind. And as he starts to slow down, I'll start my boarding preparation and commence the board. Now, again, as I say over and over and over in these videos, I am not an experienced player. I am a noob, and I'm really not that good at this, as you can probably tell. Because the Indefatigable is that much bigger, and because I've lost a lot of power in the sails because I was badly chained, I'm not able to turn him at this angle. So I kind of get stuck, and I'm not able to slow him down enough to get the grapple hooks on him. I need to slow him down to, I believe, under 3.3 knots. I'm hoping here I might be able to push his stern and perhaps turn him around that way, but I'm really not able to turn him at all at this point. So instead I decided to go around the other side and see if I can go past him and try and park in front of him and try and stop him that way. And I just give him a little tag there, just to make sure that timer doesn't run down. And you'll notice that I definitely did hit him and it definitely came up that I'd done 1 hull damage on his rear. So I don't understand why the timer didn't reset there, but I didn't notice this. I just assumed that the timer had reset and carried on with what I was doing. Now, I can pop a ball into his side at any time now if I want, but I don't do it because I just assume I've recently reset the timer. I don't check, that's my fault, and he disappears. You are f***ing kidding me again? Yep, I completely forgot to tag him. I had ball loaded, I was right alongside him. All I had to do was pop 1 ball into his side to tag him again, and I just completely forgot. You can tell I wasn't particularly happy about that at the time. And the reason I say again is because it was the second time I'd done exactly the same thing about half an hour earlier with a frigate that I'd found outside KPR. So that was twice that had happened in succession. And what makes things worse is that you might remember the control perk that I was talking about in previous episodes. And when I hit the devil level, I've now got 3 perk points left, so I could have used that control perk, and that would get rid of that problem altogether. And then now that's what I'm going to do. I do think it's a bit daft that a ship can just disappear like that when it's right next to you, but I should know better, and I'm going to start using that control perk because that's one less thing to think about, and one less thing to think about when you're like me is quite important. But if anyone knows why that 1 shot I did into the hole didn't reset the timer, whether that's a bug or whether you have to do a little bit more damage to that or whatever, please let me know and put something in the comments if you can, because I really don't understand why that timer didn't reset. Now I've got a couple of little things to show you. One of these is this new event that the devs have put in, this new sort of random event that can appear on the map every now and again. And myself and Headless had a little go at this, and you join us here just as we're leaving Kids Island to sail off to try and find this event. So this fleet doesn't move or anything like that, it's just wrecks.
That's right. It's you know, picture a wide area like the circle, right? The whole circle, and there's say 1 wreck in the middle, and then 4 spread out to, you know, each not corner, but in an even area.
Okay. See, the Americans surely would have snaffled this by now. It's fucking just a little south from their capital.
Well, I was going to say sometimes you can see one from another.
Yeah.
You know, when you're at 1 wreck, you can see another, and you can see other ships. You can see where they're at and where they're going.
Okay.
Well,
oh, it's slightly different to the other wrecks as well.
yeah.
It's a much bigger ship. Cool.
I like all the raggedy sails and stuff. Kind of cool.
It's going to be empty, isn't it?
Don't know. What does it say?
Don't know yet. Inspect. The shipwreck is empty.
Someone got it.
Yeah. Should we try and find another one?
Yeah, let's go look.
Same heading?
Sounds good.
But there wasn't another wreck as far as we could see. I think there's just the one wreck there. But that's something I'll keep an eye on. You need a trader's brig for it. Apparently, if you do find one that hasn't been visited already, there's something called a dead man's chest in there. And it's quite big. I think it's 1,500 units of cargo. So you need at least a trader's brig to carry that. But that's something I'll keep an eye out on and see if I can grab one of those. Apparently, it's quite valuable loot. So if you can grab one, it's well worth it. And that's only one of a few little changes that the devs are going to be introducing. They put a post on the forum asking for suggestions. Flares was a good one that I saw on there. That would be pretty good. And it appears they've already added UFOs, which I'm not so sure about. At least that's pretty sure that that's what it was when I was sailing past Little Inagua on a sort of scary, stormy night. Yeah, anyway. So that's we're reaching the end of this episode. The guys in the clan, they've been really busy. A couple of them have got a level 2 shipyard going. I've got a level 1 shipyard going, and I've got my crafting level up to 26, I think. So we're going to be building pirate frigates. So I believe a couple of them already completed. I think mine's going to be ready today or tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to get in the pirate frigates and travel around together and do a bit of that. So hopefully I'll get some pirate frigate PvP in the next episode. That's going to be really good fun. And I'm going to be getting into looking at the different fits, different wood types, maybe building some sort of unusual ships, maybe a snow. Some sort of surprising ships maybe that I can catch people in and people will expect me to be a turnover and give them a bit of a shot, that kind of thing. Looking at some interesting fits and the way that all goes together. So hopefully I'll be able to get a bit of that in the next episode as well. That's it for this one. I've been Hullabaloo. Thanks very, very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Aha, matey.